over a decade now, has been the executive director of Iramim. Yehudit herself has a PhD in culture and literature from Yehudit, from Bar Ilan University. Am I saying this correctly? And really, when we talk about understanding the realities on the ground in East Jerusalem, I think both Yehudit and Yeramim have been doing some amazing work, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from her about her views on the latest developments. And Nivin Sanduka. Nivin, am I pronouncing your last name correctly, or did I totally mispronounce it? You'll tell me in a second. But Nivin Sanduka, I'm not going to go through all her bio because it's extremely impressive. But just quickly, Nivin has been very active in East Jerusalem, really an expert in program development, management, peace building, and currently works with the German Association of Development Corporation and runs a grassroots initiative called Ruby, and has been working with multiple organizations on the ground, and really it's a pleasure and an honor to have both of them with us this evening. Before we dive into sort of our main topic today, and sort of I think the question that many of us are asking ourselves, sort of in the wake of the latest developments, which is the issue of annexation. I actually want to start with reading you guys part of a document that was written way back then in the mid-90s. This document is called A Clean Break, a New Strategy for Securing the Realm. It was actually a document written, from what we understand, was written for Netanyahu when he was just elected for his first term. And this is sort of a policy, pretty short policy paper with a list of topics and suggestions for the new Israeli government, and touches a lot of new issues, the economical issues, which was really what Netanyahu spearheaded his first term as prime minister. Some will, I believe, rightfully so, challenge him on it, but that was definitely one of his important points, something that they mention here, the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, which is something they bring up, and suggestions. But I think the most interesting element in this document, which I believe ties into this agreement with the UAE, is a suggestion that they have for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And it goes like this. Ultimately, Israel can do more than simply manage the Arab-Israeli conflict through war. No amount of weapons or victories will grant Israel the peace it seeks. When Israel is on sound economic footing and is free, powerful, and healthy internally, it will no longer simply manage the Arab-Israeli conflict. It will transcend it. It will transcend the conflict. And I think for those of us, I would imagine that many in the conversation here are part of this movement, political movement or political camp, who is actively trying to challenge the occupation and address this reality of violation of human rights and ongoing lack of dignity for millions. looking at this UAE agreement, we can, I believe, see part of Netanyahu's attempt to transcend the conflict and not to address the Palestinians, but to actually address neighboring countries to ignore Palestinian cause, or perhaps maybe some would see this as an opportunity. And if it's okay, Judith, I'd like to actually start with you. Looking at this agreement with the UAE, looking at least the claims, coming out of Jerusalem and Washington vis-a-vis formal or newer annexation. Should we, as a political camp, be happy in this moment now?
Thank you, Avner. Just a few words about Iramin to those of you who meet Iramin for the first time. It's a joint evening by Iramin and Breaking the Silence. And Iramin is an Israeli organization that focuses on Jerusalem, entirely on Jerusalem, as a core issue of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with a double goal of to help promote the condition for an agreed-upon solution in Jerusalem as the shared capitals of the state, the people. And also we work on the many human rights issues that are impacted by the conflict in Jerusalem on the everyday basis. We use public advocacy, legal advocacy, public outreach. We also have many people on our study tools and courses and lectures on Jerusalem, and we are almost as busy as Breaking the Silence, and they are almost as busy as we are. And so for your question, Avner, there is a small hesitation in me, like as if we are sort of fall into kind of an expected trap to say that we are always unhappy, and if Netanyahu initiates something, we're supposed to be unhappy. But this is not the point. I would like to start from your excellent quotation about transcending the conflict without actually speaking with the Palestinians and without seeing the Palestinians as de facto to negotiate with, and instead to negotiate a kind of agreement above the heads of Palestinians. And this is what we have here, that is not an isolated an event, but rather is a part of a steady policy that we have seen over the years, and particularly in the last term of Netanyahu before and this one. What we have seen in the past, I would say, in the turn of this decade and more towards the end of this decade, a shift of policy, of paradigm in Israeli policy from managing the conflict, which was problematic on its own, which is characterized the Israeli policy since the Second Intifada, namely no state, no to two-state solution, no to solving the problem, the conflict, and no to the Palestinian as a partner. Israel has been trying to eliminate the Palestinian as a partner, and assuming that the conflict can be managed, and we better off by managing the conflict rather than resolving the conflict. This was very problematic on its own. But what we have seen recently in the past few years, and the Trump plan is the culmination of this paradigm, of this attitude, is moving from managing the conflict to Israel pushing to determine the terms of the end game of the conflict unilaterally, solely according to the interests of the right wing in Israel, solely unilaterally, as Israel is the only force in this scene, and Israel is strong enough to determine the terms of the end game without the Palestinians. And the Palestinian has to accept what it is, what is there. And on the one hand, in a way, we should be sort of happy that the issue of annexation has been postponed, and I would say postponed. It was not entirely removed from the table, and we will talk later about has it really been postponed from the table. But the main thing is, two things are the main issues here. One is the continuous elimination of the Palestinian as a factor here in the region, and the second one is that the annexation, and this is a point that I would like to elaborate further on. The annexation was not really removed from the table, because what we have seen in the past few years, and even more so increasingly since the announcements of the Trump plan, is the de facto annexation. More and more facts on the ground being created on the ground in order to annul the two-state solution, in order to create more and more facts on the ground so that a two-state solution is completely off the table, and Israel is de facto annexation the West Bank without paying the cost of annexation, without being accused of annexation, moving gradually to de facto annexation. Therefore, the issue of annexation is not at all removed from the table. It is here on the ground, things that I will elaborate more later. I would like to allow Nasrin to step into this conversation, but this is the true reality.
Yeah, I mean, we'll hear soon about, I think, one of your latest, most important campaigns, especially now when this issue of annexation on the table, off the table. I don't know if you had a chance to see the press conference from the White House where Trump and Friedman were talking about the annexation on the table, off the table, on the table. I think those of us following the reality on the ground understand how the bulldozers are on the table, and that's really what counts. But Yvin, it would be great to hear your take on this, and maybe just before you address the issue of annexation on and off the table, maybe you could share with us a little bit about your activism, your life, your reality living
Thank
in
you for
Jerusalem,
watching.
and maybe